something that commonly affects all. We all have experienced moments of loneliness. We all have experienced moments of isolation and abandonment. That feeling like nobody understands, nobody's there for you, nobody cares. A lot of times, these feelings are accurate because they are felt. They're accurate because we experience them. We know these feelings to be true. Everybody has experienced these feelings. Everybody has felt these feelings. So that means they are real, meaning they are not fake. They are true. They do exist. And they can affect you. You can be affected by them. They can grab hold of you, per se. That doesn't mean that that's the whole story or the only story. Loneliness, abandonment, isolation. It means being by yourself. There's a low-key fear of being by ourselves. There's a low-key timidness and hesitation towards being by ourselves. Case in point, most women don't go to the bathroom by themselves. Take it back even further. Most children don't like sleeping by themselves. Nobody wants to be alone. We are communicable creatures by nature. Our nature is to be united, connected, not separated, not isolated. The law, or universal law of oneness, meaning we are all connected. So there is something opposed within us about being alone, about being isolated, about being singled out. If you have to sing in front of a crowd, but there's a group of people singing with you, you're usually good because you can play with that. You can start off timid and then build up into excitement and authority and power and all of that. If you have to sing by yourself, a solo, to be isolated, singular, the only one in front of the crowd, the reactions are usually voice cracking, shaky, sweaty palms, forgetting of words or whatever, hesitation in hitting notes as a result of the cracking of the voice. It's the uprising of fear, and that flight mode kicks in. They say you got a fight or flight mode that kicks in instinctually. Initially, it's a flight mode that kicks in, and if there's nowhere to run to, then it's a fight mode. But the very first thing that kicks in is the desire to leave. And then if you can't leave, then it's the frustration, I'm ready to fight for mine now. Or I have no choice, I gotta fight for mine now. And that's usually not a good place to fight from either. Even though you can be victorious, because nobody wants to get a cat backed up in a corner, claws come out. But that comes from that isolation, that being set individual, that being set in the middle, that being something different, not a part of the group. We are social people by nature. Isolation is a wrench in the program of society, of life. Animals socialize. Birds fly around with each other. And even the ones that fly by themselves land in a tree with other birds and they kick it. Wolves travel in packs, elephants, lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. We're group oriented, we're family structure oriented, which means connected, united, not alone. To be alone is to be an outcast, to be isolated, to be singled out, to be different, weird, not like everybody else. It breeds comparison. When you're alone, when you're isolated, you start comparing yourself to others. Who, what, is totally unnecessary. But such is the pattern of life. We've always compared ourselves to others. As a child, we compared ourselves to our parents, and then our siblings, and then our friends, and then people we saw on TV. It just continues to go on. We want to see how we measure up and how we stack up, and the only way to really do that is by being connected. In isolation, you don't really know how you stack up, how you connect, how you compare, because you stand alone. So you're weird, you're mysterious, you're confused from the outside perspective. Anybody who doesn't want to follow in the group is a weirdo. So this is why we have these feelings of insecurities and fears and things like that creep in and take over our thought process when we are in isolation, when we are held by ourselves. It's not necessarily a bad thing if it's used as a learning tool. It becomes a bad thing when it's just something that compounds and then becomes a weight that we carry, such as Atlas carrying the world or holding it up on his shoulders. It's a big burden to bear. But if we use it as a learning tool, an opportunity to understand ourselves, who we are and how we are, we can better maneuver and maintain in those isolated positions from a better understanding and perspective of who we are and where we stand in all positions. To find a place where you're 10 toes in, whether you're by yourself or with a group of people, is an amazing place to be. There's nothing wrong with being alone. Just don't be alone for too long. You should set aside time every day to be alone. If you put yourself in a position of isolation on a daily basis for a period of time, not indefinite, not extremely extended, but just a period of time, you'll find that there's peace in isolation. There's calm in isolation. There is rest in isolation. You will find that you're comfortable with it. It's not something to be afraid of. It's not something to be. You find yourself relaxed in that situation. Clarity of thought, or nothing at all. No thought at all. People ask me, "What you thinking about?" Nothing at all. I'm just chilling. Like, how? What you mean? I already set myself in a position of isolation for almost a year in the woods. I went to work, I came home, got my situation situated, and I went and isolated myself and got comfortable in being isolated. And it's weird, because you in the woods. Things pop up. We had deers coming through, bears coming through, various critters, rodents crawling on the, you know what I mean? So it's a hard pill for most people to swallow, being alone. But it's necessary. You see what I'm saying? It's necessary to spend time alone with yourself. Meditation is time spent alone. I know you see they have these mass groups of meditators and everybody's meditating together as a unit, and but once you go into that place of meditation, when you into that, you pretty much by yourself. You're alone with yourself, and that's when you realize that you're the most connected. Isolation properly administered will not leave you feeling alone. It will actually reveal the fact that you are connected to more than just the things that you think. I know I can talk and talk and talk and talk, but if any of this is helping you in any way, if it's informative, if it's bringing you peace in a situation, whatever the case may be, make sure you subscribe. Hit that like button and the notification bell. If you want, leave a comment